The 100th league meeting between these two close rivals this evening. And Jockey Scott has even more selection worries. Not only are Andrew Shinney and Giorgio FM still away on international duty with their respective countries, but after the red cards to Gary McKenzie and Paul McHale at the weekend, Jockey Scott has been forced into two further changes. Mark Gilhaney and David O'Brien keep their places in the team following Saturday 1-1 draw. And two further changes made by Jockey Scott. Kyle Benedictus and Darren Williams both coming into the starting lineup to replace the two men red carded at the weekend. Dunfermline, also on the back of a late goal by Ross County, they've made one change from the team that lost 2-1 up in Dingwall. Jamie Mole coming in to replace Stephen Bell. And both these teams will look to recover from those late goals up in Dingwall. Dunfermline possibly with a look over their shoulder towards the relegation playoff zone. They're only 6 points clear of that spot, but with 2 games in hand, the first of them today, they'll be looking to move away from that zone. And Dundee, they're looking forwards with St Johnstone, 8 points clear at the moment. A win today, that'll be down to 5. But St Johnstone will have played a game less, and they'll be the ones sitting with the game in hands after today. A ball coming forward, and now David Graham just laid off, and Dunfermline will be looking to get an early chance here, but caught offside down in the corner. And one of those situations, the manager will be pulling his hair out. He's down there in the corner, can look right across the line. Should never be offside in that kind of area, but indeed he was. Well, so the assistant says. So now Robert Douglas will get a chance to launch it forward at the big head of Antoine Courier. And headed on at the back by Austin McCann. That's played across the back quite comfortably by Scott Wilson, very experienced defender with Rangers. And now Dunfermline can launch a counter raid. And Payton forcing Dunfermline backwards, playing in a bit more advanced role today in the centre of midfield, replacing the Paul McHale role, you could say, in that area. And Eddie Malone just watches that one out, no harm done there. Taken quickly by Malone, and Colin Cameron can try and help it on, and has helped the back now, and Darren Williams gets a first touch of the ball, launching it forward, but headed out of danger there, and he's not going to be caught short. And there's Dunfermline again coming forward. Mole just easily leaves it off and is fired into the box, aimed at David Graham in the box, and it's a good defending header, and Dunfermline claim the first corner of this game, and they can push the big men forward. Scott Wilson heading up the back, team captain, on his way to Australia in the new season. And Stephen Glass looking to swing this one in. The big man has come right through, and Douglas, 2 hands, claims it easily above David Graham, and the quick throw out finds Gilhaney, and he'll be looking to get away from him, and he draws a foul in the end from Austin McCann, and a simple decision in the end for the referee to award the free kick. And Colin Cameron looks for the run of Antoine Courier, who's onside and just a bit too slow, and the tangerine-clad Paul Gallagher can claim that one quite easily. Headed on again by Finn, and couldn't find Jamie Mole. Now O'Brien can try and get the ball at his feet and run at this Dunfermline defence, but doesn't get away, and Woods can claim it at the back. Dunfermline playing the ball around, and dummy played, and show of frustration from Jim McIntyre on the far side. Just a bit too fancy from Dunfermline, it doesn't come off. And now Courier's got the chance to run at the defence. Scott Thompson, though, sticks to his task. Very experienced Scott Thompson now, and claims it easily, and the ball being flown in, and McMenamin just slipped as the ball came in. Now David Graham looking for an option here, running at Eric Payton, and fooled him. Eric Payton didn't know where he was, still coming forward, David Graham. And now the ball comes through to Graham Bain, and the former Dundee striker's strike was a tame one in the end. Straight to Robert Douglas, and it stays goalless. David Graham, though, with a penetrating run, and Eric Payton just was backing off him, running behind him, and he didn't have a clue where he was. He was always turning his head round, and here was Payton again, and this time loses out to Alex Burke, but didn't know where he was, and this time Graham with the ball forward, just a bit too strong this time for Jamie Mole, and Robert Douglas can claim that one. Gilhenny with that space in the centre, but the chip ball forward just couldn't find Colin McMenamin. A bit of doubt over Colin McMenamin for this game, but he's come through it well, and this time the ball's come through to Jamie Mole. Benedictus coming over to cut the angle then, and Benedictus gets a touch on it, but it goes behind anyway, and it's going to be a corner kick to Dunfermline from this near side now. And Stephen Glass will leave this one to one of the other players. Nicky Finn is going to be from this near side. He's got Alex Burke loitering on the outside in the area. Go over to the back post this time, and Robert Douglas, he's unchallenged in the sense there, can claim that one quite easily, and lets the Dundee players push forward, and a small throw out in the end to Malone. A comfortable layoff there from Courier, strong with the link-up play, and Dundee have felt the benefit of him staying from Guadeloupe duty. If he was away with Guadeloupe, even more selection problems from Jockey Scott, so a blessing that Antoine Courier decided to stay, and with his goal against Ross County at the weekend, he'll be doing a selection chance for Guadeloupe in the future, no harm. Another goal today. And it'll be even better for him. Headed on by Graham Bain there, but he couldn't find anyone with a link-up play. And also been blown. And Jim Loughlin again with a really long ball, looking for Colin McMenamin, who got the flick on there ahead of Scott Wilson, but Antoine Courier had just moved the wrong direction, and Colin McMenamin also almost catching Callum Woods in possession there. But this time now the ball comes through to Jamie Mole, and he's almost through there. Just a push in the back there from Kyle Benedictus, maybe just put him off as he ran through on Robert Douglas, and Douglas in the end, the Scottish international, could claim the ball. Gilhenny just keeps that one in on the near side, and a step forward by Scott Wilson could ricochet through to Courier, but Paul Gallagher, and also vastly experienced, can step forward. Late flag there from a referee on the far side, Jamie Mole, the man caught off. Cameron and he's found Malone on the far side, and Colin McMenamin bends his run and tries to stay on side, and he's forcing the Dunfermline back all the time. But Scott Wilson stuck to his task and got it away, and Finn can knock it up to Graham Bain. Now Nicky Finn again looking for the run of Jamie Mole here, and Eddie Malone comes back, and Jamie Mole goes down, but no free kick given, and Robert Douglas does just enough to keep it in on the byline. So a free kick in the centre of the park. Graham Bain dropping deep and drawing the foul from Dundee. And Stephen Glass, I think, is going to leave this one to Callum Woods. Well, no, now Stephen Glass walks over and bends this in one with his left foot. Chip forward and looking for Graham Bain, but the offside flag's gone up on the far side, and from the free kick, Dundee just stepping forward, catching Dunfermline off, and it means the free kick comes to nothing. It's an opportunity wasted. And from the point of view of a manager as well, not even being able to get the ball in without straying offside. Incredibly frustrating. Courier helps it on despite the presence of two Dunfermline players, and the ball might come through here to Mark Gilhenny, holding off David Graham. And Gilhenny with a misplaced pass straight at Stephen Glass, whose long ball might find Graham Bain. Couldn't knock it down though for Jamie Mole. And now David O'Brien can come away. Now Finn outside to Callum Woods. Being forced back by O'Brien, but Dunfermline keeping possession. And a low stinging ball almost coming through to David Graham. But well washed by Darren Williams, blocking the shot. And long ball here from Gilhenny might come through to Courier, but good defensive header by Scott Wilson. This time out blocked by Williams, and Dunfermline and Dundee trading long cross balls. And Payton in the centre looking for options, and he's going short this time. McMenamin again bending his run, looking to get in behind Scott Wilson, but the former Rangers man sticks to the task and blocks the run. Gallagher might just catch Austin McCann here. I thought it was maybe just a bit too long, but stayed in play. Let's come back to the former Hearts man who's tried to bend into the corner for David Graham, and David Graham had stopped to stay on side. In the end, the ball just far too long and easy for Darren Williams. Now Gilhenny, and he's got back from Courier, and Mark Gilhenny might get the chance to run at the defence here, and Gilhenny in the end, just as running, draws the foul from Austin McCann. And Eddie Malone's come over here to take this free kick, bend it in with the left-footed angle. And Benedictus is up from the back, but it's a poor free kick from Eddie Malone and Callum Woods, who can be said to wearing the jersey of one of his former employees today. It looks strangely like a Dundee United top. Paul Gallagher in that Dunfermline goalkeeper kit. Now Woods for Dunfermline being forced back by O'Brien. And came off for Payton there as it comes through. Might come through here to David Graham. And McCann. And Dundee defence is pushing up, forcing McCann backwards, but keeps possession. Now Wilson picking the pass into the corner to find David Graham, but might just run out. Not kept in well by Graham. In fact, the referee on that far side has flagged that the ball did go out to play from the pass by Wilson. David Graham just didn't do enough to keep it in. Courier drops deep to head the ball on, but couldn't find Colin McMenamin. Now Burke could only find Mark Gilhenny with that pass, and now McMenamin is kept on side, might get the chance to run at this Dunfermline defence. He's in behind McCann, comes through to Colin Cameron, but his first touch wasn't good enough. Dunfermline defence can clear it away, but now here's Payton with a chance. Out wide to Gilhenny. Stepping inside, Mark Gilhenny goes for the low shot into the corner. Good save, low down by Paul Gallagher, keeping it... well, it's only just gone out of play now. I thought he managed to keep it in play as well, but goes out of play now for the corner. Dundee's first corner of the match. Mark Gilhenny stepping inside though, giving the Dunfermline defence a challenge. And David O'Brien's come over to take this corner. Gilhenny standing outside the area. Has come through to Benedictus, but a defensive header from Alex Burke has forced us out now for the other side, which Gilhenny will go across to take. And Dundee keep the pressure on from a second consecutive corner. Eddie Malone now coming up to join the attack. Benedictus and Loughlin have stayed forward, and it comes through again, almost to Benedictus. And this time the ball will run all the way out of play on the near side, and Dunfermline can relieve some of the pressure. Just one in the air from Benedictus there against Bain. Good block there by Scott Wilson, because Courier was in behind him if the ball came through to him. Now Graham stepping inside and looking for options. Burke ahead of him. He's gone through to Mole. And the layoff just not good enough, but Graham does enough to pick it up and force it out wide. And the cross coming in now. It's cleared away well by Dundee, watching the ball in the air. Now Glass. I say the McCann who will swing this one in with the left foot and blocked by Cameron, and he's forced out for a corner kick. Not taking any chances at the back there, Colin Cameron. And Dunfermline just a bit long with the corner though, can't come through to Scott Wilson, and it's gone all the way out on the far side for a throw in, which Woods will go across to take. Waiting for options here, Callum Woods, but he'll go long, aimed at the 6-yard area, and Loughlin just suffer a couple of ricochets before getting it away. Now Gilhaney will have to hold it up here because he doesn't have much support, but the ball robbed off him by Scott Thompson. It is in that centre circle area. And the offside flag again going up very late there from that official on the far side. Buck, the man, Jimmy Mole, the man offside this time. That official on that far side very late with these offside calls. And Cameron helps it back into the danger area, and well washed by Scott Thompson onto the head, because Courier was gambling that the ball was going to come through to him. Now Bain trying to hold it up in that midfield area, but no support, and Payton can just come back and pick the ball off him. No bother at all. And a good run by Courier into the corner area. Callum Woods over there giving him some trouble, not giving them the time. And a first time cross by Malone is up into the Dunfermline sky, and almost clearing the stand, just dropping short. The ball just picking around in the midfield area, but now Cameron, experienced head, getting a foot on the ball and picking the pass through to Courier. Just goes loose again. And the pass from Glass will be fired back up front by Eddie Malone, and could find Colin McMenamin here, backing into Scott Thompson before going down, almost out of hope than anything else there, Colin McMenamin, and nothing doing from the referee. Malone has to watch the ball there as it came through, and strike forward by Woods, a bit sclaffed, and I'll go out and play on the far side. Now Wilson into the feet of Stephen Glass. Very experienced Stephen Glass, played in a FA Cup final down south for Newcastle in a a strip fairly familiar to the one he's playing in at the moment. And it's shrug of the shoulders from Eric Payton. Good turn by Stephen Glass, finds Nicky Finn thrown into the danger area, but Graham Bain couldn't find anyone with his header. Good touch by Scott Wilson to bring the ball down, but again, he just can't keep possession. And Malone thought he'd done enough to win the throw in there, but you'll have to settle for Dunfermline being given it, because referees say always final. And O'Brien just doing enough to win the throw-in. Courier trying to keep it in play again, but loses out to Nicky Finn, and he's still appealing for the free kick, but the play's moved on. Gilhenny just stepping inside. Benedictus looking for options. It's Cameron, helps it out wide to Malone. And a late challenge there by Nicky Finn. It's going to be a free kick to Dundee. And a lack of clear-cut opportunities so far in this first division encounter. 20 minutes gone. Just a stinging shot from Mark Gilhenny into that bottom corner, enough to appease the supporters. Payson being forced backwards there by Buck, but he gets the ball away in the end to O'Brien. Stepping inside O'Brien. Has to settle for Colin Cameron, playing his second full 90 of the week, and the ball in by Malone finds Courier with a header, but Courier's caught offside. But Colin Cameron playing his second full 90 minutes in 4 days. And you just wonder if his legs will stand the strain. A man with plenty of determination, he won't be wanting to come off. Now Woods still along the side for Stephen Glass, looking for players to come towards him. He's got the ball back again, Stephen Glass. Now Woods again. Woods fired into Jimmy Mole, but the man's offside again, and it's a little bit frustrating from the strikers at the moment. Quite a few offside flags going up, and strikers just not watching their runs. Douglas fires it out to this near side with Gilhenny, kept in though by Colin McMenamin, and does just enough to win the throw in, but the referee's given it the other way on this near side. McCann can get the play back underway from the throw in for helping it on down into this corner. Williams heads it away and flicked on by Payton. Now McCann will have to be careful because McMenamin's all over his back, and McMenamin's done enough to rob Austin McCann. He goes down, he's wanting the free kick, he's appealing to the linesman, but the linesman tells him to get on with the play. Austin McCann going through the back, deemed legal by the linesman on the near side. Good touch by Cameron, first time out to David O'Brien, constantly showing his experience, Colin Cameron in the centre of the park, and it's necessary with so many changes in this Dundee team during the Ross County game and the game today due to international reasons and now disciplinary reasons. And Malone's done enough to win it, fires it into Colin Cameron, and Colin McMenamin it is, and step forward by Scott Thompson enough to clear the threat away. And Eddie Malone will be looking to restart the play. Here's McMenamin being forced backwards by Scott Thompson, and this time it is Colin Cameron. Mole now. Little step outside, and now Nicky Finn can come forward for Dunfermline, but he can't do enough on that far side, and the ball goes out of play. Thrown him in Malone, and Courier was couldn't get up in time for the header there. Buck picks it up in the centre of the park. Now McCann. I fancy going forward, Austin McCann, but Eric Payton can read that pass and pick it up at the back. Now Williams. And McMenamin can help it on to Courier. Colin Cameron made the run forward. Courier couldn't use him. And Courier in the end loses out, and Courier will track back here with Alex Burke. Ball through to Jamie Mole's got Graham Bain in the centre. It's too high though for Graham Bain, but it'll come through to David Graham. He's been quiet in the last 10 minutes after a base start. Get the ball all across. Mole wins the header again, and Benedictus will get it away for Dundee. A good cross there from Jamie Mole. Could have seen Dundee in problems. The former Dundee man, Graham Bain, was under it. The ball too high. Woods with the ball right across, and it's come through to David Graham. Fires it into the back of Benedictus, who loses it in the air, and the cut back across. Fired away by Eric Payton. And Courier, a high boot there possibly on Callum Woods, the Dunfermline defender. Held his head. Now Gilhaney, plenty of space to get turned and run at this Dunfermline defence. Buck blocks his run and he has to turn back Gilhaney. And the ball all the way across to O'Brien now. And a sliding challenge in there by Alex Burke, and he's forced the ball out. Malone just loses out in the throw-in again. Dundee can't keep possession. David Graham's chip ball forward is washed all the way on to the head by Eddie Malone. Now Malone with a ball down at the corner, but there's nobody there for Dundee. And again, Dundee not having much joy from these long balls. Not picking the ball up from them, and when they do get a head on it, it's always going loose. For joy though, getting the ball on the ground. The only attempt on goal comes from Mark Gilhaney so far. And came from Dundee getting the ball on the ground and running at this Dunfermline defence. Big tall men at the back like Scott Wilson. And clearing away all these long balls. And Callum Woods will fire a long ball to test this Dundee defence. Headed away by Lachlan. Comes down though to Finn, but Finn was allowed to Courier, and now McMenamin can help it out to Mark Gilhaney, and Gilhaney will get a chance to run at this Dunfermline defence again. McCann's backing off him, and a scything challenge there from Alex Burke brings down Mark Gilhaney, and Alex Burke will go in the book, the first booking of this match. And Mark Gilhaney again causing problems, getting the ball at his feet and running at the defence. Austin McCann didn't want to tackle him, Alex Burke did. And he's got a yellow card for his trouble. There's going to be a large wall from Dunfermline. 5 men in it at the moment. Paul Gallagher just assembling it. 3 Dundee players standing over the ball. Eric Payton, Eddie Malone, David O'Brien. All there. Eric Payton, of course, scored from a free kick back at Dens earlier on in the season. It's going to be Payton again with a curling strike. This time too high, though, from the former Queen of the South man. And it's going to be a goal kick to Dunfermline. Lachlan got a push in the back there as he jumped up with Graham Bain. Loughlin looking long for Antoine Courier. It's headed up in there by Scott Wilson, and Gilhenny can pick the ball up, but he loses out in the challenge by Austin McCann. Now Austin McCann again, he's aiming at Jimmy Mole down in this corner. Benedictus sticking with him, making a 7th start for Dundee this season. Now Burke, and the ball forces Callum Woods backwards, just stalling the Dunfermline attack briefly, but now Woods can get the ball at his feet again, running at O'Brien, but O'Brien just shrugs him off the ball, and it's easily for him to pick up. Malone finds Colin McMenamin, but he couldn't help it on to Courier. It was Scott Wilson blocking the header. Courier knew he was offside there and didn't make an attempt for the ball, and in the end runs all the way out of play. Everywhere we go. Williams helps it on to Gilhenny, and Gilhenny can get turned again and run at this Dunfermline defence. McCann telling Scott Thompson to come across with him. Helped on by Graham. Mole wins the header, and Mole and Benedictus lose it in the air, but Mole reacts first. Now David Graham waiting for the Dunfermline attackers to get forward, taking it on a run himself, taking it on to Darren Williams. Graham goes to the strike himself, but it's blocked by Darren Williams at the back. Now Thompson going all the way across the pitch, finding the space. The pause here. Now Burke on a yellow card from that challenge from Mark Gilhenny just a few moments ago. Now Woods. Dunfermline taking their time over this attack, being very deliberate, not throwing any rash balls into the box, but Burke's got turns here from Payton and Gilhenny. But it's a poor ball in from Alex Burke, and he hangs his head as he walks away, but a neat turn from Alex Burke got away from Payton, and Gilhenny took them right out of the play and opened the chance up for Dunfermline. Colin Cameron sticks to his task and gets turns. Now he's going to look down into the corner for David O'Brien, but O'Brien's given up on that one, and it'll run all the way out of play. Gallagher has found Austin McCann here. Nobody was watching the near side from the goal kick. Now Thompson. Poor ball by Thompson again. Finds Woods tracking backwards to win the ball. Finn leaves it to Bain. Now Stephen Glass looking down to David Graham. Plenty of space for him to move into. Darren Williams comes across to close down the space, and McCann with a low ball in. Jimmy Mole left it for Nicky Finn, who's up in the danger area. And Dundee get the ball away. Now Thompson gets turned off. Colin McMenamin, his nimble feet from the big man at the back. And now Jamie Mole, he's got nimble feet to get past Kyle Benedictus, but he's caught between Benedictus and Williams. No free kick, says the referee, and Dundee get lucky at the back. Now Woods. Wilson taking his time, he's gone sideways to Callum Woods again. And a slack ball there from Nicky Finn. Finds Gilhenny, and Gilhenny just put a touch from Mark Gilhenny. Has to turn around and track backwards. But he's still got the ball. Mark Gilhenny not challenged so far on this one. Now Eric Payton with the ball in. Too high for Courier, but it might come through to Colin McMenamin on the far side. Now Gilhenny has plenty of space and leaves it through to Courier, who has to hold off Scott Wilson. He's not got any support. Now Gilhenny picks the ball off him, and Dunfermline get back to clear the ball away. But Courier, he was stuck backing into Scott Wilson there. Couldn't get the space. Couldn't get a shot and goal. And Dunfermline get the ball away. Williams just pausing for this throw in, wanting someone to come towards him. Thrown forward, cleared away by Austin McCann. Now Mole pulling the ball down, and now it's Graham Bain, former Dundee man, never scored for Dundee, and he hasn't had any efforts on goal today. McCann. And Thompson with the ball down into this corner, and David Graham's got the pace to run right past Darren Williams. Now David Graham cutting inside, and he's fooling Darren Williams. Low ball in, might come through to Nicky Finn, but is caught under his feet, and he can't get a strike on goal, caught behind him. And Dundee can try and launch the counter-attack. Here's McMenamin. Courier just halting his run. Forced backwards now to Payton. Now Dundee will try down the left. O'Brien cutting inside off Callum Woods. Now Payton just halting again. Now O'Brien being forced backwards by the Dunfermline defence. Now Payton, he'll try and bring Gilhaney into the game here, but it's a bit too high from Eric Payton. A slap of the hand in frustration, and Dunfermline can get the play restarted from the throw-in. McCann, long ball forward, and Jimmy Moore having a shot pulled there by Kyle Benedictus, but the young Dundee defender gets away with it this time. And Mark Gilhaney, he's got the pace to get past Austin McCann here. Low ball in, just a bit too low, and Scott Thompson can clear that one away. He's washed it all the way. And Mark Gilhaney will have to do better next time. Now Woods. Now Jim Loughlin at the back can get Dundee back in possession. Chip forward by Williams. Looked at McMenamin. Stephen Glass just pausing again. The Dundonian picking a ball now out to David Graham. And David Graham constantly finding space, but just losing out this time to Darren Williams. He's got the beating of Darren Williams when it comes to pace, but Darren Williams beats him in physical presence that time. Payton dropping deep to pick up the ball. Now Cameron helped on, and McMenamin just couldn't get the flick on. He's just a bit too high for him. And Scott Wilson, the man on his way to Australia, can pick up the ball again. Now Woods. Bain couldn't get turned there off Eddie Malone. Now Finn. And Nicky Finn has Colin McMenamin coming in behind him. Had to be quick with a ball away. Didn't want to be caught in possession in that centre circle area. Only Scott Wilson and Scott Thompson were back defending. Now here's Mole with a hard challenge in on Eric Payton there. Hard and committed from both players. And that's what managers want to see. Players going in 50-50 challenges, fully committed. And Dunfermline have a chance from the throw in. Here's Callum Woods. Forced backwards. Now Scott Wilson operating in the right area, and he could be robbed here by Antoine Courier, but in the end Wilson has to cut back and clear the ball all the way back to Paul Gallagher, Scotland international keeper. 2 Scotland internationals on display in the goals today. Also one out in the centre of the park, Colin Cameron. Now here's the other international. Courier helps it on to Gilhaney. And a low ball by Mark Gilhaney finds the run of David O'Brien on the far side. Good ball by Mark Gilhaney, but he's struggling for options here. David O'Brien, and the strike by Colin McMenamin is blocked at the back by Scott Wilson, and it's going to be a corner kick to Dundee. Scott Wilson isn't happy about it. He'll have a word with Dougie McDonald, but Dougie McDonald waves him away. And the Dundee defence can go forward and join the attack again, but Dundee take it quickly. And Gilhaney, he's lost it, and Jim Loughlin and Kyle Benedictus are caught forward, and Dunfermline might have a chance here on the counter-attack. Goes down though, Nicky Finn under the challenge, and he's looking at the ref, and there's boos all around the stadium. They knew that was a chance with Kyle Benedictus and Jim Loughlin forward. The attack was halted, and play goes on. And this time the referee does blow for a free kick. And Gilhaney was the man down. And Malone and Gilhaney will take it between them quickly. Here is Mark Gilhaney getting the strike in right-footed. And the ball cleared away by Scott Thompson, washed it all the way, a big hoof up into the night sky, and Jim Laughlin can watch it onto his head, but it's not the best of headers, more up than outs. And the ball through here finds Jamie Moll, who's onside, and a poor first touch, and Douglas can come scampering off his line. Jamie Moll had a real chance there, but a poor first touch by the former Livingston striker and Hearts striker. And Robert Douglas had enough time to get forward and clear the ball away. Gallagher helps it on out to Callum Woods. And time ticking towards half time here. Dunfermline have that first chance of the game through Jamie Moll. And a first half and few chances. And you get the feeling could be one goal, enough to separate these two sides. In fact, in the first division meetings since Dunfermline were relegated, all the games either drawn or separated by the one goal. It's been a game of few goals in the past few years between Dunfermline and Dundee, not since Dunfermline's 5-0 win in the SPL here. Has either of these teams scored more than one goal against the other? Will it be that way again today? Well, we hope not. I hope for some more action, goalmouth action in the second half. Still 5 minutes to go in this first half, though. Gilhaney gets the ball away from David Graham, and Graham Bain coming back on Mark Gilhaney. Couldn't do enough to rob him, and Graham Bain up against his former club, frustrated again. Williams with a long throw, and Curry is going to get caught between two Dunfermline players there, but he did enough to get the head on. He's holding his head though, and the referee might be forced to stop the play. Well, he's going to let it go now. And Curry just going to shake it off. Helped on by Jamie Moll. And Laughlin can wash the ball away from Graham Bain. Time for Stephen Glass to pull it down out of the sky, but he's been robbed by Eric Payton. The low ball out here could find Antoine Curry. He's cut inside, and Antoine Curry stepping across, and Scott Wilson does enough to clear it away, but 3 Dundee players in the box in support. But Antoine Curry didn't want to use any of them. He wants to take it all by himself. And Dundee lose out in the attack again. Poor first touch there by Graham Bain, and comes off his knee, I think, and goes out of play. Darren Williams with a long throw in, and kept in play by David Graham, but the ball was already out. And Darren Williams contrived from a more advanced position this time, and McMenamin wanted the foul for the push, but more on hope than anything else from Colin McMenamin. And Gallagher gets the ball away from the Dundee striker, who was a man on the mission, charging in there on Paul Gallagher. Now Bain, low ball down into the corner, looking for Jamie Moll. Benedictus across to close down the angle. Benedictus still sticking with Jamie Moll, and Jamie Moll in the end brings Austin McCann into play. Plenty of space for the former Heartsman here. Running at down Williams, and he'll get the ball in and deflects off Williams. And Austin McCann does just enough to win the corner kick for Dunfermline. Corner swung in, and it's cleared away by Williams. Held back out into the corner. Onside here. The ball comes in again. Douglas coming far out of his goal, but claims it at the second attempt. And Robert Douglas, he was certainly committed coming for that ball, but getting a bit lucky with the rebound dropping right into his glove. Douglas aimed at Courier, but he had Wilson on his back, and Courier couldn't get a head on the ball. Then Malone. Chip forward, and McMenamin could knock it up, but he couldn't really get any direction on it there. Colin McMenamin more knocked up into the air and looking for a fortunate bounce. Now Woods. Low ball into the feet of Nicky Finn. Here's Finn again, and Jamie Moore was making the run, but it's going to come through here to David Graham, but well watched by Darren Williams. David Graham was in plenty of space there if Williams missed the header, but the vastly experienced Englishman, man of many clubs, got ahead on it to clear it away. Now Thompson. And again, Scott Thompson's crossfield ball is misplaced. That's the half-time whistle at East End Park. A chance apiece at the break. Mark Gilhaney with a low strike in on Paul Gallagher, beaten away by the former United goalkeeper. And Jamie Mould run through on Robert Douglas, thwarted by the poor first touch from the former Hearts striker. But at half-time, it remains goalless. Just about back underway at East End Park. Dunfermline made the change at the back. Former Rangers defender Scott Wilson, also club captain, going off the pitch. He's been replaced by Greg Shields, former Charlton Athletic player. And Dundee immediately taking a run at this Dunfermline defence. Antoine Courier almost getting in on it and failing to make a connection. And right at the other end, Graham Bain getting a Kyle Benedictus caught under it. Still going, Graham Bain. Shot blocked though by Kyle Benedictus. And Lachlan can clear the ball away. And now Eric Payton will throw the ball forward looking for Antoine Courier. But Callum Woods will just wash this one out of play. And immediately at the start of this second half, both teams going for it. Just about as much excitement in this opening 30 seconds as the whole of that first half. Very scrappy affair between these two sides. Last 7 games between them, separated by 1 goal or drawn. It's a fixture of few goals, this one. And the first half certainly lived up to that one. Now Jamie Mole running at Kyle Benedictus, but Kyle could just wash the ball out of play. And Dunfermline just taking their time before getting it's back on the way, but a big change for them. Scott Wilson, the man coming off, he signed a pre-contract agreement with North Queensland Fury in the A-League in Australia, sorry. He's been forced off though at the break, and here's his replacement, Greg Shields, into Jamie Mole. And pass back to Shields, blocked away, and now Courier picks the ball up for Dundee. Now Eddie Malone with a high ball down, and Scott Thompson though washed it all the way, and Finn can play it back to Austin McCann and Dunfermline, keeping possession and picking their passes. Now Burke managed to get turned, but Dundee rob him in the end. Now Payton coming across the pitch, and Eddie Malone's got plenty of space on this near side, and a low ball has found him over this East End Park surface. Now Malone inside to Cameron. O'Brien in the centre of the park. Payton cuts back inside. Now Cameron. And O'Brien, and Mark Gilhaney's got plenty of space there if O'Brien can find him. Here he is, Mark Gilhaney stepping forward, but poor first touch by the Dundee wide man. Colin McMenamin dropping deep, getting turned, and almost playing in David O'Brien through the centre of the park though, and Scott Thompson could watch it all the way and come forward with the ball. And fired forward but there by Alex Burke, and not really aimed at anyone in particular. Could have been a effort on goal there from the Dunfermline man. Now Cameron. Eric Payton forced backwards by Alex Burke, and he has to go all the way back to Robert Douglas in order to keep possession. And a poor kick by Douglas, and he gets fortunate in the end there, Robert Douglas. A handball by Graham Bain, and Dunfermline being forced into another substitution here. And Jamie Mole's the man coming off, and Dunfermline with just 3.5 minutes played of the second half, making another substitution. They made one at half time, and they waited though before making this change though. Jamie Mole doesn't look the happiest of men going off. And Andy Kirk, the Northern Ireland international, he's on the park, and he's got 13 goals this season. Dunfermline top goal scorer, and he'll be looking for more today. Now Malone, low ball through, finding the run of Colin Cameron, and Cameron's got past Greg Shields here, cut back inside, and Gallagher can just fall on the ball. But Colin Cameron, a good run there by the Scotland international, finding the space, and Malone picked the pass well. Just unlucky this time. Now here's Andy Kirk getting his first touch of the game. Now Graham, and he's cut back inside. Darren Williams, David Graham, giving it Williams problem all the way through the game, getting the ball across, and the ball cleared away before it could fall down to Nicky Finn. And now David O'Brien can come away with the ball. He'll fancy a run here at Greg Shields, but a great sliding challenge there by Callum Woods it is. O'Brien. Ball forward to Courier. Chested down. Great hold up play by the Guadeloupe international. Now Mark Gilhaney. He'll fancy a run here at Austin McCann. Great strike by Gilhaney, and it's just wide of the mark. And Mark Gilhaney, he's got his second effort of the match. He's getting closer as well. Great strike there by the Dundee wide man, cutting inside. Still goalless though at East End Park. Payton, and he's going to find David O'Brien here. Now Malone inside to Loughlin. Ball down into the corner looking for O'Brien. And taking the time over the throw at Dundee, but now here's Loughlin, and the right across might come through to Courier, but his header was missed, and the ball goes all the way through, just enough defensive pressure from Scott Thompson, and Antoine Courier couldn't get any contact on the ball. And harmlessly goes through to Paul Gallagher in that Dunfermline goal. Got a warm reception from the Dundee fans, as you can imagine, as he came out for the second half. Austin McCann went in there on a crunching challenge there on Mark Gilhaney. There's Benedictus. And a long ball here, and Antoine Courier might have the pace here to get away from Scott Thompson. Gets away from him, Antoine Courier, and here's McMenamin now. Courier makes his run into the box. And McMenamin gets the ball across, and it's just too far ahead for Antoine Courier, and the Dundee attack couldn't work in between them. And Dunfermline escape. Here's Glass. Ball down the wing, and here's Loughlin. Just calmly plays it back to Robert Douglas. Graham Bain couldn't get in on it. Now Glass. And a curl ball over to Austin McCann on the far side. Perfectly weighted by Stephen Glass. And McCann will cut back inside, but between Gilhaney and Payton, Dundee win it off him easily, and they get it forward. Here's McMenamin. O'Brien, he'll get ball over to McMenamin. Good head down by Scott Thompson. Blocked the pass, read the ball over to McMenamin well. Courier, he has to put up with Scott Thompson behind him, but good footwork by the big tall man, and Dundee can retain possession. Here's O'Brien. Malone running outside him, and here is Eddie Malone, and he'll get the ball across, and Antoine Courier's at the far post, and he's just put off at the back, and he can get a header on goal. Gilhaney's managed to keep it in on the far side, but he's lost out there to David Graham, and now Dunfermline can launch a counter-attack. Here's McCann. Now Andy Kirk dropping deep. He's not had much of the ball since coming on a few moments ago, but he's got a vital interception there. Now Nicky Finn. Back to Callum Woods, and Dunfermline counter-attack stalls up at the halfway line. Now Bain. Now Kirk. And a great sliding challenge there from Jim Laughlin. Didn't let Kirk get turned. And Stephen Glass goes for the strike, and it's taking a deflection off Eric Payton. Stephen Glass urged the shoot there. And bit unlucky that time. He's got 2 goals this season. Not the most prolific of scorers. Almost added to his tally there though. The deflection just taking it away from the goal. And there's a header on goal, and it's a poor header in the end. And he was stooping there to get the ball in. And Robert Douglas takes his time spotting the ball here. He's got it exactly where he wants it now. And the bounce might just let Courier in here, but he's been penalised for the foul there on Scott Thompson at the back. I thought maybe the bounce favoured Courier there, but he'd already fouled the Dunfermline defender. Dunfermline taking the time over this one. Scott Thompson throws it forward now. Graham Bain just blocked as he goes in, and there's the ball on goal now, and it's crashed against the bar from Stephen Glass, I think it was. Sorry, Nicky Finn. It was with an effort on goal. Just got enough hustle and bustle about him to get a strike in, and Dundee get lucky. Helped on by Andy Kirk, and he's played David Graham in, and Graham will take on Darren Williams down the far side, and Payton sliding in, takes the ball away from McCann, but McCann's got it back. Has come all the way across to Callum Woods now. Colin Cameron's taken knock, but he's going to shake it off, and is struck by Nicky Finn, and the ball goes crashing over the bar, and doesn't trouble Robert Douglas this time, but Finn just moments ago crashed the ball against that Dundee bar. Douglas was beaten. Still goalless though in the first division. And Colin Cameron's just shaking off that knock he took a few moments ago. But he's back up on his feet now and playing on. And here is Colin Cameron. And Colin Cameron's still running through, and Paul Gallagher will claim that. But he's let it spill through. And I think the referee's given a free kick for Colin Cameron's challenge there on Paul Gallagher. And the ball was there to be won, but just a bit too physical. Colin Cameron this time for referee Dougie McDonald. And Paul Gallagher is fine. And maybe just a bit fortunate there, Paul Gallagher. I'm not sure if he lost the ball before or after. Cameron went through on him, but foul nonetheless. Gallagher, he's fine, and he's back up on his feet. Woods heads that one away, but O'Brien's under it. And now Shields will try and complete the job. Laughlin heads it back though. And Scott Thompson with a petulant push. It was pretty blatant on Colin McMenamin. And the referee instantly blows the whistle. And Payton can chip it in, looking for McMenamin at the far post. McMenamin's down and he can't challenge Scott Thompson. Couldn't get back to his feet quick enough. Now Malone. Now McMenamin. In the area, he's forced backwards though. And he gets the ball in the end, blocked away. Colin Cameron, I think he was going for the strike there, but ball just out of his range. Now Courier, he's got Scott Thompson behind him, manages to hold him off though. Now O'Brien, Colin McMenamin's outside, and here is the Dundee striker, but his cross is deflected away, behind by Callum Woods, and Dundee have the first corner of the second half. Mark Gilhaney's gone across to take the corner kick. And Kyle Benedictus off in the back as the ball comes in, and Benedictus gets a header on it, but not on target. The young defender making a 7th start for Dundee this season and of his senior career. Yet to score. Almost coming close there. Loughlin all over the back of Austin McCann there, and the ball almost came through to Nicky Finn, and Callum Woods is coming charging from the back, but a poor touch by Callum Woods, and the ball goes out on the near side, and Callum Woods slips as he tries to keep it in as well, but he came charging forward there. Callum Woods, he was really eager to get up into the play. Couldn't make a telling interception though, and a poor header from Alex Burke could let in Mark Gilhaney, and David Graham just comes across to forced him out of play, and Gilhaney, who's not joined that first half with the ball at his feet, hasn't had the opportunity so far to run at David Graham and Austin McCann down the Dundee right. Might get the opportunity now. He was fancy going around David Graham, just blocked though, couldn't get around him. And Alex Burke can't keep it in, and Dundee have the ball back. Here's Gilhaney with a quick throw in taken. And he's done just enough to win the throw in for Dundee. Williams with the ball in his hand at the moment. Now Payton. And Williams keeps it in, the ball running out on the far side. And not much space over there for Eric Payton, and in the end just wanting a bit too much time and space, and Dunfermline get the ball away. Here's Loughlin. And now Malone. Nobody closing him down. He can just take his time to come forward. Now Courier, Malone continuing his run into the box. Courier though lays it off to O'Brien. Malone's still up there in the 6-yard area, but it's too high for him, and very casual, and it's been tapped in by Eddie Malone into the back of the net, and Eddie Malone has got his first goal for Dundee in rather bizarre circumstances. It was kept in at the far post by Mark Gilhaney. The Dunfermline defenders all left it to each other. Paul Gallagher was down on the ground, and Eddie Malone, the Dundee left back, was left a yard out of goal, and he'll never have a simpler finish. It's his first goal for Dundee. He's made over 50 appearances. And the whole Dundee team in this group huddle over there in front of the Dundee fans. And Dundee, they're 8 points behind St Johnstone at the moment. They could be closing the gap down today. Eddie Malone, the goal scorer. One of the last ones you'd expect as well. And Dunfermline gets back underway. Scott Thompson coming forward. Now here's Andy Cook, and he's trying his best to keep it in. Another ball too long though for Andy Cook in the middle. And Eddie Malone plays it out. Loughlin chested down, and now Malone. There's well, he's gone down now under the challenge from Graham Bain. His first goal in the league for Dundee. And Eddie Malone will be pleased that Monkey's off his back. Got a goal against Huntly in the Scottish Cup from a free kick, but first league goal for Dundee. And the ball's skewed away there from Greg Shields. And Dundee gets back underway from the throw-in down in the corner. Dundee will try again from the throw-in. McMenamin comes across to help out, and the ball comes across in the end. Courier was in the middle there, but ball blocked away before it came through to him. And then McCann can get the ball down to Graham Bain, and then McCann again. And Dunfermline attack just stalls there again. Now Stephen Glass. And Callum Woods plenty of space there, but Glass will go for the strike, and Douglas goes down, but he's lost it. And now the Andy Kirk going through on Robert Douglas, goes down, appeals for the penalty kick. And Dunfermline thought they had a good shout there for a penalty kick, but Robert Douglas, I think he may have got just a hand on the ball there before Andy Kirk went through. Bain helps it on, and now Andy Kirk can come into the attack and bundled over. Alex Burke is the man who's gone down, and Dunfermline, they want another shout for the penalty. But again, second time in the space of a minute, unlucky. The ball fired up into the gantry. Burke helps out, unlucky with a penalty shout just a moment ago, and Stephen Glass, and a crunching challenge by Eric Payton, and Payton has stayed down from the challenge, but play goes on, and Gilhaney's lost out to David Graham, but Eric Payton has remained down, and Jockey Scott will be hoping that it's not more injury woes for Dundee. There's certainly a fully committed challenge from Eric Payton. He went in there, committed. And that's one of the marks about Eric Payton. He won't shirk a challenge. But this time may have been more trouble than it's worth. He won the ball off Stephen Glass, but may have done more damage. And Jockey Scott has selection problems as it is, with Michael McKenzie suspended. Shinny and Jojo Ephraim away on international duty. He won't be wanting to make another change just now, and especially Eric Payton, club captain. He won't want to lose him. And I think Dunfermline as well. Dunfermline making a change as well, just as Eric Payton limps off. Dunfermline making the change as well. Alex Burke coming out, and Stephen Bell, who started against Ross County last week. He is on the pitch now anyway. Stephen Bell in the centre of the park. And Eric Payton just having a wee breather, and he's ready to come on the pitch now. When the referee's not seen him, play goes on. Now Austin McCann looking to slow the play down for Dunfermline. And it's helped out to David Graham, and he'll get the ball across. Just too strong though, bit too eager David Graham to get the ball across, and Stephen Bell can get his first touch of the game. Now Woods all the way across to Nicky Finn now. Stephen Glass, still Eric Payton waits to come on the pitch, and now the referee beckons him on. Now Woods, and he's missed the ball there. Callum Woods down in the corner, couldn't get possession. It's cleared away. Malone helps it on now. Glass nodded inside, and Nicky Finn can let the space open up, and he's looking for Stephen Bell on the far side. Forced out though by Darren Williams, and that's the slide in there to keep possession. Now again, you'll get the cross in now. Graham Bain has his header blocked, and Benedictus completes the clearance. Now Payton finds Antoine Courier with the run, and he's got in behind Callum Woods here. Doesn't have any support at the moment. Antoine Courier holding up the ball, waiting for the Dundee attack to join him. And now Mark Gilhaney. Now Courier, Cameron. And Gilhaney again. Dundee being very slow, very deliberate with their play at the moment. And Gilhaney going in there and fires the ball across, but gets a bit unlucky with the rebound and only goes out for a throw in. I'm sure Gilhaney was hoping for more from the corner kick, and Dundee get a chance to add to Eddie Malone's first league goal for Dundee. Now McMenamin, who's trying to get turned to you, and fires the ball across, and Dunfermline will get it away. Now Payton, who seems to have shrugged off that injury, and Williams can knock the ball off David Graham for a throw in. Now McMenamin gets the ball across, and it's deflected away off Austin McCann, and Dundee have the corner kick. And Kyle Benedictus and Jim Laughlin will go forward. O'Brien with a left-footed in-swinger, and Gallagher was having a problem getting away from Colin McMenamin there. Possibly a foul by the Dundee striker, but the referee let it go. Paul Gallagher ended up with the ball in his hands, and the ball headed forward. Finds O'Brien. Now Courier, O'Brien scurrying back to try and win the ball back off Austin McCann, but could only force Austin McCann's cross out for a throw into Dundee. And Williams steps outside and can get the ball down into the corner. Here's Antoine Courier. A little back heel, tries to find Mark Gilhaney through, but it's going to be a throw into Dunfermline. Mark Gilhaney just pulling up with a slight knock, losing the possession of the ball there. Now Bell nods it back to Stephen Glass, and pass was blocked away, and a poor Paul could force O'Brien forwards, but Callum Woods has to force it backwards. Now Cameron, just over to Malone now. Now O'Brien, now down into the corner for Eddie Malone, who can't keep the ball in play, and it goes out of play. Now Malone nodded down for O'Brien, and he's played into the feet of Courier. Now McMenamin, and he's forced the ball away. He's trying to force the ball into space with Cameron and Gilhaney, but his misplaced pass. Dunfermline come away with a through ball, could find Graham Bain here. Eddie Malone though, washing the ball all the way, and it holds off Graham Bain, and he just loses it in the end. Graham Bain kept it in. Now Bell. And a poor pass, and Dunfermline forced backwards, and now Woods forced with the ball in, and Williams nods it away. Comes through, now Stephen Glass, forced backwards by Eric Payton, but David Graham, plenty of space there in the corner of the area, gets the ball in, and now it was Williams with the ball away, and now Dundee, plenty of space for O'Brien to run into. Stephen Glass comes down to cut down the space now, great sliding challenge by the former Aberdeen man, and O'Brien was robbed of possession. Shields just nods it down to Callum Woods there, and Antoine Courier's run was in vain. Now Kirk getting in behind Malone. Now Glass. Now Graham, plenty of space again on the far side with his chest down to Austin McCann. Wasn't good enough. Gilhaney wins it. Cuts inside Mark Gilhaney, goes down under the challenge from Stephen Glass. And it's going to be a second yellow card of the game. Stephen Glass goes in the book. And Benedictus gets the play back underway. Courier goes down holding his head, but he's back up now. Now Payton. Now Gilhaney. Plenty of space. He'll get the ball in here. Mark Gilhaney. Poor ball in, and O'Brien couldn't get under it. Now Cameron. And it comes off the knee of Callum Woods and spins away for a throw into Dundee. Cameron just plays it back to Malone down in the corner. Just does enough to win the throw in again. Dundee quite happy to hold it down in the corner for the moment. And the ball eventually comes across to Courier. Now Cameron will strike it right against Nicky Finn though. And Dunfermline can push out the defence. Lachlan though puts him right back under pressure again with the ball in. Cameron just unlucky there, couldn't get hold of possession. Now Stephen Glass can come away. Now David Graham. Get the chance to run at Darren Williams here. David Graham, he's been running at him all through the game. David Graham with a strike. And Robert Douglas goes down low within his grasp. Comfortable stop there for the Dundee man. Keeping out the strike from David Graham, and it's only Eddie Malone. The difference between these teams at the moment. Cameron in, and Courier can chest the ball down again, holding the play up for Dundee, and now bringing Gilhaney into attack. Gilhaney with the strike, catching Paul Gallagher. Maybe a bit off guard there, he had to go down to his left quickly. But Scotland International, he's not going to get beaten from speculative strikes like that. Gilhaney go back to his drawing board for his first goal for Dundee. Eddie Malone, he scored his first league goal for Dundee today. And Mark Gilhaney, he's got his eyes on his first as well. And Benedictus was just blocked off there, and it might come through to Stephen Bell, but Lachlan, right at the last minute there, dived in to take the ball away from the substitute's head. He was running through on Robert Douglas there, and he odds on a good strike at goal there. If it wasn't for Jim Lachlan. Jim Lachlan, though, saves the day. And Graham Bain just does just enough to get David Graham into attack again, and David Graham still bustling through, and he just slips there at the vital moment and couldn't keep the ball in play. But Graham Bain did fantastically well to get up in the air there and bring David Graham into attack, and he had that strike a goal just moments ago. David Graham from running at the Dundee defence, almost doing so again. Courier nods it on, and Scott Thompson forced to fire the ball out into play, and Jockey Scott nods the ball down to Darren Williams. And Jockey Scott will be enjoying this scoreline at the moment. Former manager at East End Park, of course. Got a win earlier on in the season here. He'd love to make it 2 in a row. And Dundee going for 4 wins in a row here at East End Park. 2 wins last season in the First Division, both 1-0, and a 1-0 win here earlier on, so going for 4 1-0 wins in a row. Still 10 minutes to go though. Scott Thompson. Now Greg Shields. Bringing Stephen Bell in, now Glass. And Dunfermline, plenty of strikers lining up, waiting for the ball in, but Graham Bain couldn't find any of them. And Callum Woods fires it against O'Brien's back, and he's done enough to win the throw-in. Well, it's not out yet, and Callum Woods will have it again. And the ball in, and Andy Kirk just lets the ball drift across him. But Benedictus could fire it away. Now here's McCann. Gilhenny over there trying to force McCann out of play, and Gilhenny has done just that. Well, McCann managed to hold off Gilhenny for the throw-in there. I thought maybe it was a Dundee throw-in, but no complaints from Gilhenny, so just my bad eyesight. Now Bell, he's getting turned here, looking for options. He's come right the way across the park, and now Bain helps it on to Bell, and have chipped the back post, and Williams comes diving in there to clear the ball away. Now O'Brien knocks it off Stephen Bell for a Dundee throw. The Dunfermline fans not happy about the decision there, but ricocheted off Stephen Bell on his way out, and McMenamin just sticks his boot through that and fires it anywhere down the park, and Dundee can push out again and just relieve some of the pressure. Paul Gallagher fires it long, looking to put Dundee back under pressure. Stephen Bell with a good touch brings it down. Bain now outside to Callum Woods. Left footed strike all the way across, and Douglas scurrying all the way over and doing just enough to get 2 hands on the ball. And Malone. And the run of Courier here could play him in. Shields going down with Courier into the corner. Woods is there as well. But Anton Courier strong enough to win the throw in. Payton down back into the corner with Malone. Loughlin just fires it back forward, and O'Brien ducks and lets it run through, and Colin McMenamin could finish it here. Blocked by Gallagher and Courier. He couldn't react quick enough to the cutback by Colin McMenamin, and Dundee could have secured the 3 points there. The cutback from McMenamin though just too strong, but a good save as well from Paul Gallagher going down low, and Colin McMenamin has got 5 goals this season. Gallagher doing just enough to stop the 6th. Thompson just letting the Dunfermline attack, push forward. Aimed at Bain, but he couldn't head it. Wins the second ball though. Now Glass. Forced all the way out wide to McCann. Now Graham battling with Williams down in the corner, and Graham gets the ball across, but behind the goal as it came. Douglas not bothered. Douglas gets us back in the way. Lachlan nods it down, and Eric Payton, well, he's forced backwards now by David Graham. David Graham all over the pitch, and Eddie Malone has worked it out now to Payton, keeps it in play. And looking to find the run over Brian, but too long. Nodded on by Bain, looking for support from Kirk, but not coming, and now Bain will work it out to Bell. Bell cutting inside. Stephen Bell might fancy on his left foot. Passes the buck to Stephen Glass though, and Glass fires it in, blocked by Lachlan, and Cameron will complete it. McCann though fires it right back in. Bell goes up for the header, nods it on, no one there though, and Payton gets it away, but Dunfermline piling the pressure on. The ball just coming back at Dundee every time Dundee think they've got it away. Dunfermline will fire a long ball back in, not letting the Dundee defence breathe, with 5 minutes to go. Dunfermline know that a goal could be crucial. Woods steps inside, but O'Brien almost robs him there. And Glass, low ball in. Now here's Bell. And he tumbles over the challenge. Sorry, Nicky Finnett is there, who's tumbled over the challenge there of Darren Williams. And Dundee lining up the substitution. Freddie Dakan, the former Dunfermline player, who's going to come off the bench for Dundee. And David O'Brien, who's going to come off. And O'Brien is coming into the side against Ross County at the weekend, playing tonight as well, of course, with the absence of Jojo Ephraim, and you think maybe O'Brien, he'll be in Jockey Scott's thoughts. Has he done enough to keep his place back in the team, being substituted here? Perhaps not. But Freddie Dakan, former Dunfermline player, on the pitch, headed on there by Bain, and Douglas steps forward and claims the ball in the air. Scott Thompson couldn't get under it. And Freddie Dakan gets a reception, I think it's fair to say, from the Dunfermline fans as they came off the bench there. Glass at the back, and now Austin McCann. Now Glass. Stephen Glass will fancy taking it for a run here. Low ball in, and now here's Andy Kirk, and he'll get a strike in and down low into the corner, but he didn't really get any power behind the strike there, Andy Kirk, and he couldn't add to his goal tally for the season. And Robert Douglas easily gets down to claim it. And Gilhaney loses out Stephen Bell. Just more determination there from the Dunfermline midfielder. Now Malone, Bell coming across again, and Stephen Bell is really fired in, going into every challenge, looking for the ball. Scott Thompson now holds off Courier. No mean feat by the Dunfermline defender. And the ball from Callum Woods finds Nicky Finn onside. Sorry, David Graham it is. Cutting back inside, and the ball comes off Jim Lachlan. And David Graham had the pace there just to run in behind that Dundee defence, beat the offside trap. David Graham, he's been very lively for Dunfermline in this first half and second half, having a striking goal for Rob Douglas that he claims comfortably, but he's always a threat with the ball at his feet. Corner Swung in and it's too long though, and it's a sigh of frustration all around the ground. And you think just another few grey hairs maybe on the head of Jim McIntyre. Dundee slow the play down again, taking up every second as the time ticks on. And tumble of the challenge there, and another fully committed challenge. It's played back now, Scott Thompson. Looking for Austin McCann, but Freddie Dakan can step forward and claim the ball in the air. Courier going forward, Freddie outside him. And Courier, just the ball played too far ahead of Dakan. Gallagher looking for options from the long punt down the field. One in the air. Now Bell. And can win it, and it's fired back, and Callum Woods and Colin McMenamin coming in behind Woods, trying to cut down the length of time he has to play the ball. And Freddie just comes across to win it. Fired back in, and Eric Payton with the block away. And Darren Williams will complete it. And Dundee, some last-ditch defending at the moment. At the weekend, hit by a late blow by Ross County. That robbed them of 2 points. Will that be in the back of their minds today? Woods cutting inside Cameron, goes for the strike, and Douglas, he's beaten by Callum Woods from the long-range effort. And Dundee have been stung by a late sucker punch against Callum Woods. May have rescued a point. We're in the last 5 minutes at East End Park. On his left foot, Callum Woods. It's all square. And some of the Dundee fans have had enough. They've seen it all before against Ross County. And Callum Woods may have done just enough to rescue a point for Dunfermline here. Finn knocking it at the back now. McCann, the long ball forward, and now Dunfermline think they can win it. Hold off, and now Bell maybe fancy a strike, and here's a goal scorer, Callum Woods. And Stephen Glass gets the run of the ball. Not for a second, well, yes, for a second time. Stephen Glass, now Bell. Cuts back inside. Bell giving the Dundee defence problems in the cut back. Couldn't find anyone with the header. Gilhaney with the ball upfield. And Payton just a bit too committed in the challenge there. And Graham Bain does enough to win it. And Dundee conceded a free kick, and Dunfermline pushing all the big men forward. Stephen Glass is going to take this. Graham Bain could be the target, and Darren Williams nods it almost out of the gloves of Robert Douglas. Now Freddie across, and Williams knocks it out for a corner. And Freddie and Williams, they were wanting a shout there from Robert Douglas. No shout came. And they've conceded the corner, and Dundee really holding on, and could it yet get better for Dunfermline? The ball comes across, and it's deflected away. They're all wanting the possession, and the linesman it is who has the final say on this near side. He's given a goal kick to Dundee. Douglas, and he's lost possession of the ball there. Malone will fire it back across. Dakan wins it in the air, and McCann stoops low to win it back for Dunfermline. Bell just loses out to Payton. Now Gilhaney has got the ball at his feet and was looking to run at them, but loses out to Bell. Now Kirk, and Graham Bain forward. Kirk loses possession though, and Dundee don't have time to launch the counter-attack, and for the third game in a row, Dundee surrender a 1-goal advantage late on in the game. They did it against Partick Thistle, they did it against Ross County, and they've done it again today against Dunfermline. A first league goal for Eddie Malone isn't enough. A late strike by Callum Woods. And Dundee have surrendered 6 points in the last 5 minutes in the last 3 games for the season, and that might be just enough to cost them the First Division title this season.